Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be recapping the Orioles and Rangers Game 1 of their 3-game series. This was the series opener against the Rangers in Baltimore, and the Orioles went out there today and got a big win in the series opener against the Rangers. They win this game 6-0 over the Rangers. 6-0 win. Series opener win. They're up 1-0 in the series, and their game is below 500 moves to 10 games below 500. So, again, trying to cut the lead down as much as we can. Obviously, they lost last series to the Yankees in a pretty heartbreaking fashion when they could have easily won that third game, but we lost, and whatever. It's a new day, new series. We move on. But the Orioles win this game 6-0 over the Rangers. In the series opener of this series, the Orioles are up 1-0 in this series, and this is the type of win that the Orioles needed. They really needed this type of win. They went out there and pitched a shutout. Trevor Rogers was absolutely phenomenal and had the best start by any Orioles pitcher this season up to this point. He was excellent, and it's so crazy to me that Trevor Rogers, of all the pitchers that the Orioles had, he's the guy that's going out here, and he's done excellent in 2 of his 3 starts he's had this year. And he's somebody that 100% needs to be in the rotation moving on throughout this season. But Trevor Rogers, he was phenomenal. 8 innings scoreless in this game. Had 4 strikeouts. Only gave up 3 total hits in this game. He was excellent in this game. There's not enough good things I can say about Trevor. He was absolutely lights out in this game. Had the best start of his career, one of the best starts by an Orioles pitcher all season. It's actually kind of mind-boggling and actually baffling what he did. It's actually crazy. But shout out to Trevor Rogers, man. He was incredible today. The offense went out there and did their thing. Half of the offense, and really a majority of the offense, came through Jackson Holliday, who had 4 RBIs in today's game. He had a 3-run homer. In the 5th inning, he was incredible. He had 2 hits today. We're also, in this episode, going to go over some updated All-Star voting. Jackson Holliday is still second in second base voting, but he has a little bit more of a lead now over Altuve, and Ryan O'Hearn is up by 500,000 votes for the starting DH in the All-Star game. So as it stands right now, and it's going to stay like that unless something happens to Ryan O'Hearn, but as it stands right now, Ryan O'Hearn is going to be the starting not shortstop. He's going to be the starting designated hitter for the American League in the All-Star game, which is going to be really, really, really cool to see for him. But we'll go over that a little bit later in this episode. But the Orioles, again, a huge win today. This was a nice way to get a series, opening win. Obviously, if they can win one of the next 2 games, they can take this series against the Rangers in a much-needed must-win series. And when I say must-win, I mean must-win. Because if the Orioles end up losing the series, if they lose the next 2 games, which is the only way that they can lose this series, if they lose the next 2 games, then I'm probably just going to make an episode, solely dedicated to the state of the team and, give my opinions on what we really need to do moving forward, because we are approaching the end of June. The timer is ticking very, very, very quickly for the Orioles to kind of get their act together and figure out what they want to do. Because, again, there's a playoff spot 6 games out, but you're still games below 500. Your starting pitching has been pretty inconsistent. You have a ton of injuries right now. Not a ton of injuries right now, but just throughout the season. And I will say an injury update is that Ryan Mountcastle did get moved to the 60-day IL, so we're not going to see him probably until August or something. It's going to be a long time before we see Ryan Mountcastle. So Kobe Mayo or Ryan O'Hearn or someone like that's going to be pretty much your everyday first baseman. So he's gone. Ryan Mountcastle, he's gone. But the Orioles brought Chadwick Thromp back up, and he actually played today and got a hit because... and the only reason why he played today is because Maverick Candley did get put on the 7-day concussion list because of the hit that he got. The hit that happened to him yesterday whenever there was a collision at the plate with Jazz Chisholm in yesterday's game against the Yankees. That's where the injury occurred. So now, Maverick is on the IL. And now we brought up Chadwick Thromp. So we're on our 4th string catcher. I really would have thought that we would have brought up Samuel Basallo, but we'll see what happens with that. But going over this Orioles and Rangers game, the Orioles win this game 6-0 over the Rangers. The Orioles record moves to 34-44 on the season. Again, they've got a lot of work to do still. They're still 10 games below 500, but they just got to keep winning. And obviously, every win is going to mean so much for this team, as long with every loss as well. So this is really crunch time for the Orioles. Late June to early to mid-July is really when things are going to have to be, getting going for the Orioles, because the All-Star break is at mid-July. So the Orioles, by mid-July, need to be in a decent spot before the trade deadline, which is July 31st. So they really have until July 31st to really figure out who they are, and they've got about a month to do that, so we'll see what happens with that. But the time is ticking very fast for this Orioles team. But going over the offense was excellent today. 6 runs scored. They put up 11 total hits in this game. They got walked twice. They went 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and they left 8 guys on base. So they had more. They even had a lot of opportunities to score more runs, but they couldn't do that. Still, 6 runs scored is not bad at all. You'll take that every single day. 11 total hits. Again, 6 runs scored. Great work from the Orioles today. There was 2 Orioles that had multi-hit games, and it was actually your 1 and 2 hitters in this game. Jackson Holliday in this game, leading off, probably had his best game of the season from a stat line perspective for, with the bat. Jackson Holliday definitely with his best game of the season. He goes 3 for 5 with a run scored, a 3-run homer, and 4 RBIs total. So again, 3 for 5, 3 hits in this game, a 3-run homer, 4 RBIs total, a run scored. He was excellent. He was absolutely excellent in this game. And that is the stat line of somebody, and that's the player and stat line of someone that's going to be the second baseman for the All-Star game for the American League. And I'm sure, we'll go over what it looks like later, and we'll go over what the voting looks like later. But Jackson Holliday, it's really looking like he's going to make the All-Star game in his first full season as a big leaguer, which is so incredibly cool to see. Obviously, we know the potential that Jackson Holliday has. We know that he's a pillar of this team for the future, for the next several years. But Jackson Holliday with an incredible game today. 4 RBIs, 3 hits. Great game. And the other Oriole that had a multi-hit day today was Ramon Laureano, who is batting second. He goes 2 for 5 with a run scored. Shout out to Ramon. He's been, doing his thing. His average has gone down a little bit. Still a decent average at a 257. But Ramon Laureano, multi-hit day today. You take that all the time. Gunnar Henderson was actually the only Oriole in this game. Gunnar Henderson was batting third, but he was the only Oriole in this game that did not get a base hit. And obviously Gunnar was on a 14-game hitting streak, and it got ended yesterday. And then today he also doesn't get a hit. So unfortunate for Gunnar that he couldn't, or didn't end yesterday, ended 2 days ago. But unfortunate for Gunnar that he couldn't get a hit today and join everybody else. Literally everybody else had at least a hit other than Gunnar. Gunnar went 0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. So again, his average even with that is still, pretty high at 278. He's doing his thing. You really would love, you would really wish that the home run numbers would be there, because Gunnar Henderson only with 8 home runs on the season, 23 RBIs. You really would. This is not the Gunnar Henderson that we know. He's not playing like the Gunnar that we know. Defensively, he's been fine, but he just hasn't hit as many home runs as you would think. His average is fine. He's playing for contact, which is fine, but he's not hitting many balls out of the ballpark, which is what you really expect from Gunnar. Obviously, last season when he put up 37, and I'm sure he's not going to get anywhere near 37 this season with the way that it's looking right now. And then Gary Sanchez in this game, he was batting 5th. He was the DH in this game with Chadwick Thromp catching. Gary Sanchez in this game goes 1 for 3 with a run scored. Ramon Urias goes 1 for 3 with an RBI. Colton Cowser goes 1 for 4. Kobe Mayo goes 1 for 4 with an RBI. Cedric Mullins goes 1 for 3. And Chadwick Thromp goes 1 for 4 for his first base hit of the season. So Kobe Mayo getting a hit and an RBI. You'd love to see that from Kobe. Again, he has been producing ever since we moved him over to full-time first base in replacement of Ryan Mountcastle. He's really been producing well, so shout out to Kobe. Hopefully he can keep it up. But Chadwick Thromp gets his first base hit of the season, which is nice to see. Colton Cowser getting a base hit. You'd love to see that as well. And you'd love to see this offense as a whole do its thing. It wasn't necessarily all one person. Everybody was getting on base. Jackson Holiday obviously did a lot of the heavy lifting today with 4 RBIs scored of the 6 total. So shout out to Jackson, 4 RBIs, obviously the 3-run homer. He was incredible this game. He's been absolutely incredible all season for the Orioles, and I'm just so excited to see how he will keep improving and keep doing his thing throughout the years and moving forward throughout this season. But going over to the pitching in this game, there was only 2 pitchers needed in this game for the Orioles because the man of the hour, the player of the game, the best start by an Orioles pitcher all season, Trevor freaking Rogers, gets the win in this game, and this is also his first win as a member of the Orioles. Last season when he was last season at the trade deadline, whenever the Orioles traded for him, we traded Connor Orby and Kyle Stowers for Trevor Rogers. Whenever we traded for him and he came to the Orioles, obviously, I think he had 5 or 6 starts. He was horrible in all of them. Didn't get credited the win in any of them. Obviously got hurt, sent him back down. He was deactivated the rest of the season. Got hurt during spring training. He started the season off in AAA. He was horrible in AAA. He had like a 5.5 ERA in AAA. He was doing horrible down in the minors. The Orioles called him up as a taxi squad member, an emergency guy against the Red Sox, and he goes 7 innings scoreless in that game. And then we sent him back down to AAA. We call him back up in last week's game against the Rays because of another pitching injury, and we need him. We called him back up last week against the Rays. He only got through 3 innings. He gave up 3 runs. He didn't have a great game. He was really getting worked in that game early, and then obviously that led to the bullpen having to come out early, and it was just a disaster. That started from Trevor Rogers, but in terms of runs given up, it wasn't like a crazy amount. He just got worked a lot in that game. And then after last week's bad start from Trevor Rogers, he comes out here today and has the best game by an Orioles pitcher all season, hands down. And I would also argue this is one of the best games by an Orioles pitcher the past 3 years. This was absolutely incredible stuff from Trevor Rogers. He gets the very much well-deserved win over the Rangers in this game, 1-0 on the season for his record. But Trevor Rogers in this game goes 8 innings and gives up only 3 hits, 0 walks, and 0 runs with 4 strikeouts in the process. And yes, I'll say that one more time. 8 innings, 3 hits, no walks, no runs, 4 strikeouts, and an 101 pitch count across 8 innings, and his ERA is currently sitting, as a starting pitcher for the Orioles, his ERA is sitting at a 1.62. And if you would have told me that a starting pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles would have a 1.62 average within 3 starts, I would have called you insane. Because as you all know, every single Orioles starting pitcher this season has extremely high ERAs. We can actually just go over and check right now, actually, the Orioles starting pitchers' ERAs. Let's start off with Zach Eflin, 5.46. Go to Tomoyuki Sugano, 3.55. Not horrible, but not necessarily like something incredible. And those are your 1 and 2. Those are your 1 and 2. Those are your guys who are your 1 and 2, or they're supposed to be your 1 and 2. Hell, Trevor Rogers might be the ace of this team moving forward. Because what I saw from him today was some incredible stuff from him, and some incredible defense as well from the Orioles in the field. But an incredible start from Trevor Rogers. Again, we traded for him. Everyone kind of, including myself, a lot of people gave up on him. He still is pretty young. I think he's only like 26 or 27 years old. So he still is young. He still has a lot of stuff to go. He had a very promising season a few years ago. He has dealt with a ton of injuries. And when he's been on the field, he just hasn't been great. But I don't know what's gotten into Trevor Rogers, but in 2 of his 3 starts in the major leagues this season, he's been lights out. He's pitched 2 shutouts in 2 of his 3 starts. Not complete game shutouts, but in the first game, he pitched 7 innings scoreless against the Red Sox. And then today, he pitches 8 innings scoreless against the Rangers. Like, that's incredible. That's some incredible stuff. And it's not like the Red Sox and the Rangers have no talent on offense. Like, he's facing teams that have talent on offense. But as I was saying, like Dean Kramer, for example, his ERA is at a 4.6. You go to Charlie Morton, his ERA is at a 5.64. And then Cade Povich, whenever he was healthy, his ERA is at a 5.15. Obviously, Trevor Rogers is replacing Cade Povich in this rotation because of the Cade Povich injury, and we'll see what happens with that moving forward. We'll see if we decide to even have Cade Povich come back up to the main roster, because at this point, Trevor Rogers just needs to stay on the rotation. Trevor Rogers 100% needs to stay a part of this rotation. No ifs, ands, or buts. He has to stay a part of this rotation with what he's doing. If he's doing good, you're just going to have to ride the momentum and keep going with it, because he was excellent today. He was more than excellent. He was perfect today. And then Andrew Kittredge in this game goes 1 inning, gives up no hits, no runs, no walks. He got the 9th inning. He pretty much closed out the game. Didn't get the save, obviously, because it was a 6-run game. But the Orioles win this game 6-0. They pitch a shutout. One of the very few times that they've pitched a shutout this season. Obviously, this is the Orioles pitching staff, so pitching a shutout is a huge, huge deal. But the Orioles go out there and do it against the team that won the World Series 2 years ago. So shout out to this pitching, shout out to this offense. They were incredible today. And the Orioles needed this win after that series loss that they just suffered to the Yankees, where they lost back-to-back games. Especially yesterday's game in pretty heartbreaking fashion. They go out there today, get a big, big, big bounce-back win. And hopefully they can win minimum one of the next two, take the series, and move forward with that. But at this point, man, they just got to go for the sweep. They got to go out there and win tomorrow. The Rangers have an undecided pitcher. We don't know who's going to be pitching for the Rangers tomorrow, but it is going to be Charlie Morton pitching for the Orioles. And the Orioles are 5-0 in Charlie Morton's last 5 starts. So, again, it's one of those situations where you just got to keep riding the momentum if someone's doing great. So, hopefully, Charlie Morton can pitch this team another win. He's 5-0 in his last 5 starts. He hasn't been credited in all 5 of those games. But he has, the Orioles have won in the past 5 games that he's been the starter. And then, obviously, in his first 7 starts, he got credited the loss in all of them. He was 0-7, it was horrible. But Charlie Morton has really turned the season around, and hopefully he can continue that momentum going into tomorrow's game. And then I think that we have, Zach Eflin in game. I think we have Zach Eflin in the 3rd game of this series. Let me just confirm that real quick. In the 3rd game of the series, we have Sagano versus DeGrom, which is going to be a heavyweight battle, which I'm super, super excited for. But, the Orioles needed to get this win. Much needed win. Trevor Rogers, an excellent game from him. Can't say enough good things about him. The Rangers could not, hit off of him. We were incredible. We were absolutely incredible. It was 3 singles that we held him to as well. So, I mean, that's ridiculous. Shout out to Trevor Rogers, and shout out to the Orioles for getting this big, big win. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, follow up with the channel on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, but like the video as well. And if you like this content again and you want to see more of me and update, hear more updates from me, check out the links in the bios of both either platform that you're listening to. Check the Twitter, check the Instagram. I'm updating on Instagram all the time on my story, and I'm also posting on there as well. And then I'm also live tweeting every single Orioles game and any sort of Ravens news going on as well over on my Twitter. So make sure to give those a follow. Check the link in the bio of whatever platform you're listening on. And again, thanks again for all the support, all the appreciation that y'all have shown me. I appreciate it so much, all the kind words. I'm having a ton of fun doing this, man. We're episode 76, moving on to 77 tomorrow. Having a ton of fun. I'll have an episode up tomorrow night, sometime around the same time that I did today. I'll have an episode up sometime tomorrow night talking about Game 2 of this series. Hopefully the Orioles can take that game, get a win in the series, and move forward with that. Because again, they're running out of time to figure the season out. But if they can just keep getting wins, then we should be good, and hopefully we can make a playoff push as we continue on throughout the season. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. You have a great rest of y'all's day. Go Ravens, go O's. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.